Welcome back, friends. In last video, we discussed about security control framework. Now we will quickly look into risk management framework. So in security control framework, we briefly discussed about COVID and ISO and NIST 853, including CIS as well. Now, risk management framework is something which is different than security control framework because the objective of both of things are different. Security control framework is used to establish the overall security of a company. So it is taken as a reference on top of which we will develop our own information security policy. So that's a security control framework. Whereas risk management framework is something which is having this objective of calculating the risk a company and organization may face. So when it comes to risk management framework, let me quickly go to the drawing. If you see here, so what is risk management framework? Risk management framework is a guideline for how risk is to be assessed, resolved, and monitored. So this all revolves around how we can do an assessment for the risk, how we can resolve the findings which is generated by the risk management process, and how we can continuously monitor it. Two basic flavors are there, which we talk in CISSP for risk management framework. One is for the government organization and one is commercial. So the government organization tend to follow NIST RMF 837 revision 2, which was developed in year 2010. There may be further revisions. You can refer the website. But from an official text perspective, just keep this in mind that risk management framework, there is a NIST RMF and there is NIST CSF. CSF for commercial, RMS is for government. Now, what happens in the RMF risk management framework? We will not take much time, but we'll just go through it as a story and try to develop a basic idea. So as you see here, that RMF has got how many steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. It starts with the process initiation. So any security process which we start, it starts with an initial preamble, we can say, be it business impact assessment or business continuity planning, or any risk management framework exercise. So first is initiation, that we initially start the process formally. We will be needing some tools, some people, and other things. So this is the step to set everything on the stage. Then we categorize out of everything which we have in our organization, the servers, database, information, people, inventory, buildings, everything we categorize. And this categorization is based on the criticality and impact it can bring if it is not available, right? So this categorization is done. Then what we do, then we go for the select stage, where we select initial set of controls which can address those initial category which we have created. Now, once those controls are selected, they are implemented, and then they are actually, then there is an assessment phase which actually kicks in when we see that the implemented controls are properly installed, they are operating, and they are providing the desired result or not. Once we are happy with everything, then we authorize, and then we continuously monitor. And as part of the monitoring of the whole process, what happens if we see that this monitoring is producing some negative result, not result, basically, if the monitoring is showing something negative where we see some scope of improvement, then we start this whole process again from categorization, right? So then we again categorize, select, implement, assess, authorize, and monitor. It goes in a waterfall, and then it loops into the categorization phase again, right? So this is RMF. Now let's quickly look into the CSF process. So So CSF is not explained in detail in the book. So you have to go to the official NIST website, and NIST website actually explains what these 5 steps are. So as far as the steps are concerned, it's a very simple to remember. Like, we first identify, then protect, and then detect, respond, recover. The only catch is that detect sounds to be the number one thing, because first we detect something and then we do its identification, right? But here, just keep this in memory, that identification is the first part. As we have seen in AAA system, that although we said authentication is the first part, but first is identification, right? So identification, then authentication, then authorization, then accounting and auditing, and then monitoring, right? So here, identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. So these are the 5 steps we have to remember. Now, what is identify here in CSF? Identify here in CSF is to develop an organizational understanding to manage cybersecurity risk to system, people, asset, data, and capabilities. That's what this documentation says. So here, the identification is to have an idea about, like, how we are going to manage the cybersecurity, or how, not how. I think the what component dominates here. So what we are trying to secure, right? So that's identification. So it says develop an organizational understanding to manage cybersecurity risk to systems, people, asset, data, and capability. That's identify. Now, when it comes to protect, what we are protecting. So the word protect is explained in NIST CSF as is to develop and implement appropriate safeguards to ensure delivery of critical services, right? So protect, the word which should ring a bell in your mind is protection with safeguard. So what we are protecting, we are putting some safeguard. So development and implementation of safeguard to the identified business component, whether it is process, people, technology, data, capability, reputation, whatever it is. So we are protecting with some safeguards, right? Now, what we are detecting, right? Detecting is to develop and implement appropriate activities to identify the occurrences of a cybersecurity event. So it's just a monitoring mechanism to detect any suspicious activity which can bring some negative result in the company, right? So that's what detected. And respond is to have a proper incident management plan. Is basically to develop and implement appropriate activities to take action regarding any detected incident. So as I said, so respond, incident management, that should ring a bell in your mind. Detect, monitoring. Protect, safeguard. Identify what we are gonna safeguard, right? And what is recover? Recover is equivalent to remediation when it comes to incident management. How it is defined here: recover is to develop and implement appropriate activities to maintain plans for resilience and to restore any capabilities or services that were implemented due to cybersecurity incident. So basically, it's the next stage of incident management. Or in incident management, you will be reading something called remediation. So recovery is the remediation part of it. This is what is risk management framework all about. And I think if you know this much, that's more than enough and sufficient to answer the questions in CISSP exam. If you are interested, and it's highly encouraged to go into the details of these framework. And when I was preparing for the exam, I personally read, I will not say 100%, but 30 to 40% content of the official framework documentation, which is available on the NIST website. So more is always encouraged. However, you should not get overwhelmed with the content of those documents, right? So keep this picture in mind. And I think with this picture, if you go back and study and hang all the related information around this picture, you'll be having a good memory map to memorize everything. As again, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, put a thumbs up and always subscribe to this channel if you love the content and if it is helping your CISSP preparation. Thanks again. Have a nice day.